about your business to go to another level. You must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Testing Results, yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Tony Harris Taylor. Testing Results, oh yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Hey there, Tony Harris Taylor here with another fabulous and amazing author of the book, Lead Loud, Entrepreneurs Building Legacy Through Drastic Leadership. And our next author is Kristy Wills. Now, I love Kristy because she has real world, not that entrepreneurs aren't doing real world corporate experience leading a team of over 100 people. So we're going to hear from her perspective. And then she also has become Kristy the Harmonizer, and she'll tell us about that. So welcome, Kristy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And so I set you up, but in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
So my name's Kristy Wills. I'm a regional manager and been in leadership for over 24 years. Lead and develop and coach people in the financial industry.
Yeah. And you decided to start your own thing because why? Why did you decide to become an entrepreneur? And how has this entrepreneur journey challenged your leadership?
Well, I became one because I noticed that through my leadership, there's many times, and most recently, that I led a team of leaders. And so I see a lot of them struggling with not so much with the basics of their day-to-day job, but when it came to leading their team and coaching their team, they really struggled on how to do those types of things. And so I thought the best thing for me to do on a bigger level was to be able to provide leadership speaking and coaching, to be able to help these leaders be able to build that, because there's not a coaching program out there for something like that.
Yeah, what I know for
Training.
sure, because it happened to me, is I was promoted into leadership and I was leading my peers. And that is a whole
Right.
nother level, right? When you
Right.
start to lead your peers. And a good worker doesn't necessarily make a good leader. And most people are promoted because they're a good worker. And so learning how to be a good leader is definitely something that has to be developed. And so you're called Kristy, the leadership harmonizer. So we worked on that brand together. Why the harmonizer piece?
So my dream career was actually to be a singer. So that was what I wanted to do when I was a kid growing up. That was my dream. I was going to be a big famous singer. My dad was going to send me to Nashville and I was going to live the dream and make it famous. And I never did that. So here I am. My
Uh,
backup plan to be a leader.
so the nice thing is she is a great singer. And when you bring her in as a speaker, she's actually going to sing for you as well. But also, she has a methodology for bringing harmony to leaders and their teams. So, how do you define leadership, Kristy? What does leadership mean to you?
Leadership means to me bettering people, helping them in their development and their growth, and what is their vision of their career path, and helping them to get there. I think that, having empathy for people, having the skill to coach and lead and direct them in the way where, to get to that next level. That's truly what leadership is. Nothing's bigger than having somebody come back years later that just says thank you so much, and they've grown in their career, and you've been a part of that, and you help them to get there. That really is the most valuable thing of a leader.
Yeah. And the book is called Lead Loud. So, how do you think a great leader can lead loud?
Showing up, being there,
Yeah.
offer that one-on-one coaching. I think leading loud is we can do things in a big way to where we have meetings and we discuss things to everybody at one time. But leading loud is taking that step to do it one on one. Offering that time for that individual to be able to help them in their development. But seeing their success to me is the loudest.
Yeah. Yes. And then also, how important is it for leaders to lead by example?
Very important. Because we can always say, and I always like to say, explain the why behind what it is that you're telling them. So that's another way for us to show the why by us leading by example. Because we can ask people to do things all the time, but unless we're doing it too, it doesn't add any value to what you're actually teaching or coaching.
Yeah. You know, and this is kind of not relevant, but I'm going to bring it into the conversation of you got to tell people why it's important to do what you ask them to do. And the best example that many of us can relate to is flight attendants. Flight attendants, they say, put your tray tables up, put your bags under the seat in front of you, overhead bags, right? Close up your laptops. Make sure you put those away. But never have I ever heard them say, because if we have an emergency, we don't want to be tripping over stuff. And people think they're just telling them what to do. All they have to do is that to the end, because I've
Right.
seen frustrate, right? So sometimes as leaders, we leave off that tail end thing.
Hmm.
And I think that you helping them to see that last little blip could make all the difference in the world. And I know you're going to help them to add we're not just bossing you around. We just don't want you to trip and fall over something if we have an emergency. Say that
Right.
part.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and that's true because it's the same thing with like training. We hire a bunch of people, we send them to these trainings, and we just expect them to magically poof come back to us and be ready to go. And that's
Yeah.
just not how it works. You have to be able to be showing them the why behind why they got trained and what the training is about, how it adds
And what
value.
the expectations are.
Right.
So I love that. Remember that analogy. You can use that in the future. All right. So tell us about a time when you had to take a drastic step as a leader, and what did you learn from it?
So I was in a comfort zone where I was with a company for over 13 years and I was very comfortable in the position. It got bought out, and I honestly thought I was going to retire from this company. They wanted the new company wanted to keep me on, but I was like, if I'm going to have to change companies, I might as well I should be the one to choose. So I started to look around just to kind of see options, not really made up my mind that I was going to go into a new career or new path, but when I was going through that, that's whenever I had discovered, becoming the regional manager. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. One of the best things I love about leadership is being able to coach and develop people. And this was going to be on a lot bigger scale because I would actually be in front of leaders and coaching and developing leaders. And so I took the drastic step and I said, okay, I'm going to apply. And I ended up getting the position, and it has been the best decision that I have made. And that was a pretty drastic step for me because, like I said, I was very comfortable. And if it wasn't for the company getting bought out, I don't know if I'd have been pushed to take that drastic step, but I did.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. I love that. So what did you learn from that though?
Well, I learned that I was capable of more. I learned there was more in me. So I feel like a lot of times we do limit ourselves. Because even when I applied for that position, I was telling myself, I'm probably not the person for this. I'm probably not ready for this. But I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna tell them what I'm about. I'm gonna do my best and just go. And so what I learned from that was we're capable of more than we think we are.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. We hold ourselves back from
Yes.
so many things 'cause in our head, we don't see what other people see in us.
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
from that, we don't go after that leadership role. We don't go after that promotion. We stay stuck.
Mm-hmm.
and people see in us things we can't even see. So I love that you learn that you are capable of more. And now
Mm-hmm.
we're doing even more, right? And
And
you're
I think
capable.
even when you say stuck, it makes me think of, it's not necessarily, I think some people, not necessarily they're just stuck, they're just comfortable.
Mm,
They're just
mm,
comfortable. And that's kind of where I was. I was just comfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But now, looking back in hindsight, thank goodness you made that decision. I don't think you and I
Yeah.
would be here
No,
if you
you're
hadn't.
100% true. That's right.
Yeah. So, yay. So, what legacy are you intentionally building with your business?
The legacy I want to build is that I want to be able to help leaders to be able to lead to where they can develop and grow their leaders, and see their people become leaders and surpass what they're already doing and leave that legacy on, continue it down the road, learn the
Yeah.
things that they learn and teach the things that they learn, going down the road. So that's really what I want to see happen.
Teach them how to bring harmony into future leaders,
That's
and
absolutely right.
it goes down the line. So, and listen, that means you have to be drastic in your next steps to make sure
Right.
that happens, and then encouraging those leaders to get out of their comfort zone as well. I love
Yeah.
what we're doing and what we're building here. So, how has your leadership impacted your family, your community, and your industry?
So my leadership, as far as family goes, my family's very proud of me. I think the biggest impact I saw was actually on my oldest daughter when she was a teenager. I didn't even know she was paying attention, but she knew what I did. She saw what I did, and she saw the impact I had on people. And like I said, I didn't even know she noticed it until she had to write a book report for school, and it was all about me, and it was about
Mm.
my leadership. And so that really had a positive impact on far as family goes, when it comes to, a direct impact. Um, what was the other part of that question?
Yes, your community and your
Community.
network.
Well, I think that it has an impact because I inspire people to want to do more. I've
Yeah.
had many people that I've met, peers as well, even new peers that I've come across that have said, "Wow, I just really you inspire me to be a better leader." I need to really sit back and take the time and care more about the people in a different way than I do. A lot
Mm.
of us as leaders want to just coach and get them to where we need them to get, get the numbers, get the
Mhm,
goal.
mhm.
But we forget about what leads them to that, and which also leads to burnout when we're not coaching them the right way or leading them in the right way.
Yeah, very good. And then you've been in financial industry for almost 25 years. So how has
Mhm.
your leadership impacted the industry and your financial company?
I feel like in a very positive way.
Mhm.
Only the reason why I say that is because I think that it's retention of people
Yeah.
wanting to stay with you, not leaving, because whenever you show that you care about them, they care about you, and they care about you being what you think of them and the result that they bring, which makes it to where they want to work harder and be better and grow within their career as well, and they end up staying with you and being lifelong
Yeah.
employees.
And I love that. One of the things I've observed since I've known you is you brought in trainings to help them. You've pushed them out of their comfort zone because I taught
Mhm.
you how to network. You like, y'all got to go network. So, but you lead by example as well.
Mhm.
You're not just saying y'all go network, you're doing it as well, showing them what is possible. And I think that has a huge I know for sure because I know them, it has a big impact on who they are and who they're becoming in the process. So kudos to you, and you're not afraid to use budget to help them, right? And um that's beautiful, and people are going to be using budget to bring you in. So they need to know that it's going to pay off exponentially. And ultimately, I think it's important that what leaders do make not just themselves look good, but their leaders to look
Right.
good. And the more you can help your leadership look good, the more they will help you look good. And it
Right.
just is a trickle down effect, right?
Hmm.
So, what core value drives you as a leader?
Hmm. Core value. I value the people. Um, I mean, people is really what drives me as a leader.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's really when I see other people be successful from something that I help them to do, that is the biggest accomplishment for me, and that's really what I value the most in my role.
So, a lot of leaders are intimidated by their team growing and maybe taking their job, right?
Hmm.
Have you heard
Right.
that?
Oh,
Seen that?
yes, yes.
And so they don't develop their people because they're afraid that, and a great leader really is grooming the next person to take their job. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. Yes.
And so it's just important. People is a great driver for a leader, and really helping them obtain their professional and by extension personal goals, right? And if
Hmm.
they feel like you got their back, they're going to do whatever it takes to make you look successful as well. So, but question, was there a time you ever wanted to give up in your role as a
Oh,
leader, and what keeps
of
you going?
course. Yes, of course, many times. I think that's with any career that we do. I think part of mine is, maybe you can't get the buy-in or the engagement that you want from the people because you know the value, what you're trying to show them or what you're trying to lead them to. You see the value, but they don't see the value. And sometimes through different ways, just like you said, I brought in different things to do. You try to think outside the box, to get
Yeah.
your team engaged. And sometimes when you don't get that team engaged, it is a little overwhelming and frustrating, especially when you know the value that will come from it. So sometimes it does, you do feel like giving up, or maybe even there's sometimes when, my biggest focus I want to do is just focus on coaching and developing. Well, that's not all my job is about. So sometimes all the other things that come along with that position would help to kind of overwhelm you a little bit to where you don't get to pay attention or get to do those things that you really love to do, which also gets you to a point to where you want to give up sometimes too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what pushes you through?
I tell you what, it's that one interaction with someone that you sit down and you spend that one-on-one time with them. And when you get done spending that time with them and they walk away so empowered and just like a light just went off in them. And when you see that, and that really just lights the fire in me. I mean, it does. It truly just lights everything back up, ignites me, and it's like, and I even tell myself, this is why I do what I do, and
This
I
is
have
why
to
I'm here.
remind myself, this is exactly why I do what I do, regardless of everything else. This is it. This one person right now is why I do what I do.
Absolutely. And we all need those reminders. So,
Oh, yes.
okay. So, how do you show up for your team when things get tough? Life
In
is
a
life. And
positive, I'm sorry.
I
Go
was going
ahead.
to say, life is life, and your personal life might be life in their personal life. How do you show up for them when things get hard?
Well, I can actually give an example of
Okay.
that. So, showing up in a positive way is the best way to show up for your team. That's something I coach all the time. I tell my team all the time, don't just go in there trying to convince them that, this is the right thing or right decision. And you're just kind of what they say, blowing smoke, but you don't really believe it.
Hmm.
So, for example, we went through a conversion with a company, and of course, the people purchasing us were very concerned about how is these new employees going to react to it? Is it going to be a positive way? It's going to be a negative way? Well, I 100% took it in a positive way. I looked at I looked at everything and I was like, this is an amazing thing for us. And when I showed up for that team, when it was announced to all of my team, I was already aware it was going to happen. Um, they all were looking at me and looking for my reaction. And when they saw that I was taking that in a very positive way, and I was even reassuring them in a positive way how this is great news and how this is going to be the best thing for us and so forth, they were inspired and they took it in a positive way. And many of them even said that to me. They said, we saw how you reacted to it and how happy you were about this news. And so it made us trust and it made us know everything was going to be okay. So I think
Yeah.
that's really the biggest thing is positivity and not showing the negative is huge when it comes to leading a team.
Yeah. But what are, and this ain't on the list of questions, so here we go. Where
Can't ask
does
it.
being vulnerable, right? Where does being vulnerable and transparent and maybe saying, well, I have some fear around this situation too, but we're gonna, when does that come into play? Or is a good leader never shows that side?
I think a good leader shows it, but in a very small amount because I feel like they depend on us so much for that guidance that if we show that there's a negative or that we don't trust the process or we don't believe in the process, that starts to put negative thoughts in their head to where they start to doubt it. So I honestly think as a leader, we shouldn't show that as much. You know, maybe with our peers, that's the time to kind of to share those moments. But when you're in front of a team that you're leading, I really don't think that's the best time to show that.
Okay, that's good because, you know, I would be like, ooh, so I get it. I get it. And I agree. Your peers are the
Right.
ones you can share those vulnerabilities with and your
Absolutely.
fears. But letting the team know that you're moving forward. And I think there is a little value in saying, "Oh, waiting to see how this is going to play out too, but we're going to move forward anyway." I think that's also important because we don't wear a S on our chest. We do have feelings, and they need to see that we are, that we are, but not too much. I'm in total agreement there. So, what's the best leadership lesson you've learned from failure or rejection?
Hmm. I guess I learned it kind of goes into hand with what you just talked about. So that is something learned. You know, sometimes you do get a little too comfortable with your team and you show that part of you that is human.
Mm,
And that's sometimes where you can fail because then I feel like I've had this happen, not in career now, but in previous times where I had allowed that to happen. And it was failure because it was really hard to get that engagement back or them to look at me as a leader. I guess they were looking at me
mm,
as an equal versus a leader that they wanted, that they knew that it was important to do the things that we were asking them to do. They were looking more as a peer. So I think that would be kind of a failure lesson, but it was a lesson learned. That taught me kind of what you were just talking about, showing that vulnerability because you show too much of it and then they just look at you as the same and really do, I mean it's really hard to explain what I'm trying to say, but just to kind of get them to trust you in a leader way
no, I heard you loud and
versus a
clear.
peer. Right,
Yeah, I heard
right.
you loud and clear. It's a delicate balancing act. And if you do
Yes.
too much, you learn from that. So
Hmm.
now you've understand where the balance is. So I
Right.
like that well, we just led right into that, didn't we?
I think a lot of what it is, I think every leader that gets into leadership for the first time struggles with that because the hardest thing for most people is they don't like people to not like them.
Yes.
That is the toughest thing. When I first got into leadership, that was the toughest thing I struggled with. I was like, I don't like people not liking me. It was just like it just hurt. It was a horrible
Yes.
feeling. And then I learned through all that there's going to be times where they don't like you. It's just like as a parent, your kids don't like you sometimes, but they still
Correct.
love you. It's
Correct.
just it's something you learn through the process. It's definitely not something that is just natural with most people.
Yeah. Well, this is your second book with me, your second go time around as a coaching client. And so my question is, how has our community, Drastic Results Coaching and Network in Action, helped you to lead louder and to be a better leader?
I think what the biggest thing is the networking, building that community of people around you. Um, I always know where to turn or who to turn to. I always know who to get a hold of, like for the answer. But it really is truly about building a community. And just like we talked about earlier about me taking that drastic step after that 13-year career, you're completely right. If I would have took that drastic step, we wouldn't be here right now, because that's what led me to start to look for. I knew I needed to develop myself. And so the development of myself included all the networking and building of the community around me, which is something you taught me.
Yay! Awesome, awesome. So, who inspired your leadership style and what qualities from them do you embody now?
Um, I would have to say it was from my previous job, his name was Dan. He knew what I wanted to do in my career. And you know how you talk about people worried about taking your job? He was one of those people that was like not worried about him taking your job. He wanted to develop me to be able to take his job. That was his goal. He knew he saw something in me. He knew that I had definitely the care for people, that I wanted to see them successful and succeed. And so he just really spent the time with me, the one-on-one time that I talk about that is so valuable with teams, is something he did. And I think that's what kind of carried on with me, is that I knew the true value of having that one-on-one time with somebody, whether it be an employee of somebody that you lead, or actually being the leader that leads the team. But having that one-on-one time is something I think that I truly keep like really close to my heart. And that's something I learned from him as a leader.
Okay, okay. Is he still around?
He is.
You should reach out to him and let him know
Oh yeah, he
that
knows.
he
I've told him
inspired
plenty of
you.
times. I've told him
Okay,
plenty of
okay.
times he's my inspiration.
Oh, that's great.
And
What?
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, what bold moves or drastic strategies have helped you to stand out, to grow as a leader, and in turn, your new business?
I think getting involved with you, my coaching and thing has really, that's been something I never even knew was something I needed. So that's something drastic I did for myself. I got with you. We did the coaching program once. This is, going through a second time. I feel like it's very drastic, but it's has developed me and helped me in so many ways. I am very like not one of those people that get out there and really go to build community of people like I do now. So that's been my drastic step, I think, when it comes to my development.
I would agree. And now you are hosting networking events and you're showing up in places and doing things way out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Um, and so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't get you out of your comfort zone. So kudos to your coach. And kudos
Yeah.
to you for investing a second time because you saw more development was necessary. So love that. So what advice would you give someone who feels like they're playing small in their leadership?
Get a coach. That would be my best advice. Get a coach. It's something that many don't even realize they need or even exist. Because to be honest, when I first met you, I didn't even know what that was. I was like, what is a coach? What do they do? I think that's even what I said to you. I was like, can you help me? Like, I don't know if you
You
could help
did
me.
say that. I remember that.
Yeah, so I think that would be the best advice. And I have given that advice to many people, either a small business owner just starting out, or even somebody in the corporate world that is in, a role of leadership that they might need help with their development.
Yeah. And you want a coach, like if you're in leadership now or wanting to advance to leadership, you want a coach like Kristy because she's been there, done that. And this is why I approve this message, because when you get the right coach, that coach has already bumped their head and skinned their knee. They've made the mistakes, like oversharing with team, that they
Mhm.
can keep you from making, that will save you a lot of heartache and pain in the future. And to think that you can get into a leadership role and you can do it on your own is kind of futile. And so you want to bring in a coach because coaches can see what you can't see because you're inside of it. Right? There's a saying out there that says you can't read the label from inside the jar. You need a
Right.
coach who can read the label and see inside the jar to help you see your blind spots that you don't even know are there. And when they can tweak, I like to say Serena Williams, does she need a coach? No, she knows how to swing the racket. But the coach can see where her stance is off that much, and if she just tweaked that little thing, game over. And it's the same in business. So thank you again for trusting me. But if you are a leader, aspiring leader listening, don't bring me in because I've never led 100 people in a team. I've led a dozen, but not 100. Bring Kristy in because she knows how to maneuver through all those personalities and corporate politics and all the stuff. So awesome. How are you helping others to rise as you rise?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How are you helping others to rise as you are rising?
Take the time. I mean, I got to take the time and make the time, I should say. One of the things I really do is I try to always make sure that I'm calendaring that time to make sure I have that, like I talked about, the one-on-one time I feel is so important. That is something that I always give advice to leaders. It's like if you are not scheduling and making that one-on-one time with your team, you're failing them and yourself, because they're not gonna, they need that. And so I focus on that, but then also I focus on this. This is my development. So my time with you is part of my development, and so I have to manage that. So I focus on making sure that I manage to have the time for them, but then also I have to manage to have the time for my development as well. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah. So, how often do you have those one-to-ones with how big is your team now? And then how often are you having one-to-ones?
So I lead a team of 42, which is 7 leaders total. So I do have one-on-ones with those leaders every month, which I honestly I'm in their banking centers and they're all in their place all the time. But to actually sit down and have a designated 1 hour time, I do it once a month.
Okay. Okay. So it's not like you can wait till it's their evaluation time.
Right. No, it's too late.
Evaluation should never be a surprise. People should not be shocked what their evaluation says. If they are, then you're not a good leader because you're not giving them the feedback along the way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree that, and I'm definitely going to use that because that's 100% true. That's where a lot of leaders miss it because they do wait for evaluation time, and that's usually year end. And they've had a whole year to kind of develop that team member, and they chose not to address it until it's review time. And
Correct.
the employees caught off surprise. They're like, "What? I'm great. I've succeeded. I've hit my numbers." Well, it's not always about that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that you said that. That one-to-one is critical. All right. So this is the last question. At your funeral, what do you want people to remember about the you and the work you have left behind?
I want people to remember that I truly cared about people. That's what I want them to remember, that I would have done anything to help somebody with anything, not even just in leadership, but that I truly cared about people and nurtured people. And that's the way I want to be remembered.
Yeah. Well, I certainly will remember you that way. So, but I'm older than you, and I just, so remember me first. All right, tell everybody how to get in touch with you, please.
So they can actually reach me, my cell phone number, which is 281 967 9729. And then I'm
Um,
also available on LinkedIn under Kristy Wills.
Wonderful. So, Kristy is the leadership harmonizer. She has a whole program to help bring harmony to your team. Reach out to her if you're a leader of a small team or a big team and you're ready to take your leadership skills to the next level. She has plenty of experience that she can help you and your team to bring harmony. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. And we'll see you soon with another author of Lead Loud. Talk to you later.